Welcome to the commentary for the top 5 2016 games video of Sir Colco. This one's a bit of a doozy. There is some weird production stuff surrounding it. But first off, this was the last video of the end of the year extravaganza thing I did for the Sir Colco channel at the end of 2016, where for the last 3 weeks of the year I released one new video every week. And this was the very last one. Initially, there actually was going to be a fourth video as a part of this, which would have been for my top 10 upcoming games of 2017. Those were kinds of videos that other YouTubers that I watched did, where they would like talk about the games they were most anticipating the next year. And I wanted to do that too, because like I knew that it would be outdated pretty quickly, but I always thought those videos were really fun to look back on in retrospect and see how much different like people's opinions are after the game comes out and stuff. So I wanted to do that, but I scrapped it pretty quickly. I think it was partially because, for one thing, making 3 videos to release at the end of the year, that just 3 alone took tons of time in itself. So I think I partially realized that it would have taken me too much time to do a 4th video on top of that. But the other thing was, I don't think I really had enough games to talk about. The main game I would have talked about was Cuphead, because I had learned about that in a book that I got from the Scholastic Book Fair, and I was like, oh, like a boss rush game where like it's in the style of a 1930s cartoon? That's awesome. I was really excited about that and I wanted to talk about it. I talked about it in an Undertale video on Colco Gaming, but nothing else outside of that. So this would have been my way of talking about it. But aside from that, all there really was I guess the Switch had been announced. They had done the reveal trailer for the Switch, but they had barely released any information about the games. So all we really knew is that there would be a Mario Kart on the Switch, but we didn't know if it was a port or a new game at the time. A Splatoon, which once again we didn't know if that was Splatoon 2 or just a port of Splatoon 1. And then also that one Mario game, which we knew it wasn't like 3D World or anything, but we still had no idea what it was. So it was like, what could I really say about that in the video? So that's why that didn't end up happening. So this ended up being the last video. This video was supposed to release on New Year's Eve, but I ended up actually releasing it on January 1st of 2017. And that was because of a weird little issue. So originally this video just had the 5 games on here and didn't have Super Mario Maker for the Nintendo 3DS. That was originally not planned to be in the video at all. But then on Christmas Day, I ended up getting Super Mario Maker 3DS as a Christmas present. And I played it a lot and I was like, oh, I really like this. This is really fun. You know, this technically counts as a 2016 game, right? So I ended up making an entirely new segment at the last minute just to talk about Super Mario Maker 3DS in the video. So yeah, that's why if you noticed when I talked about Paper Mario, or Mario Luigi Paper Jam, I talked about it being an honorable mention, but unlike my other honorable mention segments, it's just a complete other segment to the video instead of just me briefly talking about it. And yeah, that was because I added another game in at the very last minute, but I didn't want to just completely like scrap all the work I had done on the Mario Luigi Paper Jam segment, so I just figured like, okay, this video can just be a little bit longer, why not? So yeah, that's what I ended up doing there. And that's why the video was delayed, because it took me it took me a bit of time to get that part of the video finished, because I had finished all the other segments, I just had to make this new Mario Maker segment. And the problem was that I believe on New Year's Eve I went to my family's house for a Christmas get-together. So that ended up, I couldn't work on it that day, so I ended up just delaying it by a day, which is something I believe I mentioned in either a comment on the video or in the description. Yeah, which is interesting because I don't know if my viewers would really care. Yeah, here's a little fun quirk about the video here. I mentioned like, well, if you've been keeping up with all the new games this year, you now know what number 1 is. Which that may not make a lot of sense because it's number 3 on the list. But since the Mario Maker segment was inserted at the last minute, hopefully you understand that, yeah, it would have made a lot more sense because Kirby Planet Robobot was initially number 2 on the list. Only to get bumped off by Mario Maker. Yeah, so that definitely led to some fun little quirks in the video. Especially because of the fact that The top 10 3DS games video, that kind of does spoil what the games were going to be for this list. I even say in the number one segment where I talk about Pokemon Sun and Moon, I say like, is there any really surprise that this game would be on the list? I mean, I said it was my number 2 3DS game of all time. Cause yeah, that kind of spoiled what the top 5 games of 2016 would be. But hey, it's not really much can be helped there anyways. Yep, and here's that Mario Maker 3DS game segment. You might not really notice that it's insert like a last minute thing at first, but if you listen to my voice, it does sound a little bit raspier than usual. I believe I had gotten sick around that time, but you know, I still wanted to add this video in before the due date I had set for myself. So I ended up just recording it anyways, and it just sounds a little bit raspy, but not really enough to where it sounds too noticeable. So it ended up working out fine, but I think it is interesting that it's just like, oh yeah, there is actually kind of a way you can tell that, and it's not just like me saying stuff and you just having to take my word for it. I was going to review this game for some reason. I have no idea why. There's not really much more I would have talked about, but whatever. And last, here it is, Pokemon Sun and Moon. Whoa, how shocking. I never would have guessed that despite it being number 2 on your last list. Wow, that's crazy. There's no background music on this section of the video, which is weird because I actually did record the background music for it and I just forgot to place in the video itself. I had to leave a comment on the video saying like, poo, the audio got deleted at number 1, my bad. There were a lot of dumb little mistakes that I made in these videos just because I didn't go through the bare minimum effort of proof watching the video for mistakes. Which is even more embarrassing for this video because this is only like 7 minutes long. It would not have taken you that long to just like watch it through and then easily realize, oh, there's no background music. I can just go in, edit that back in, and then just re-export it, and that would only take like 10 minutes. But no, I didn't want to do the bare minimum there. I think I brought this up right here, Alolan Muck being better, because I don't think Alolan Muck was announced before I did my top 10 worst Gen 1 Pokemon video, so I thought it was appropriate to bring it up there. Yeah, Alolan Muck is a good design. I still don't care for Muck that much, but yeah. But yeah, like I said, this was a bit of a hectic video production process. And also, hey look, this is the first time that I don't speak during the outro, I'm just playing We Are Number 1 here, because that was my favorite meme of the year. Good times. So, this video ended up unintentionally being the last video before I took a 2-month hiatus. I was working on the next video, the Mega Man Colco review, in January, but I started getting like really stressed out while making it for some reason. Like for some reason I remember like one of my worries was like I was worried about getting a bunch of subscribers and becoming like popular, and that kind of stressed me out for some reason. Which is weird because that's what I wanted with my videos, so why was I stressed out about it? But for whatever reason, I decided after this, I would just, I would quit YouTube because I didn't want to deal with the stress of making the videos anymore. And I wouldn't end up coming back until March when I decided to do, well, I should probably save that for the next commentary. But that's basically what you need to know, is that after this, I took a break for a while because I was getting really stressed out for some reason. But there you go, top 5 games of 2016. I guess I also need to mention that the Wii U and 3DS games video, this was going to be a yearly series, and unlike those other ones, it would make a lot more sense to continuously do like top 10 games 2017, of 2018, 19, etc. Because you know it's different games every year. There's a lot to talk about there. Obviously, I quit YouTube in March of 2017. But one of my attempts at making a comeback to Sir Colco was in 2019, where I started working on a script for a top 10 games of 2018. And I started working on that. Didn't make much progress in the script at all, but I did have a list of games I wanted to talk about for that. And I had stuff like Kirby Star Allies. I believe number 1 was Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then there was also Celeste, Dead Cells, and a bunch of other games. So I did start working on that, but didn't make very much progress. I think I stopped. I didn't even get through like the number 10 spot, I believe. And after that, I ended up scrapping the idea, and I think I wouldn't make an attempt to come back to Sir Colco again until I worked on Ice Climbers video in 2019. But yeah, if I was successful and revived the channel with top 10 games of 2018, I definitely would have gone back and eventually made a 2017 games video, which I believe that would have been Mario Odyssey at number one, and then probably stuff like Sonic Mania and some of the other Switch launch titles. But alas, that never ended up happening because I quit YouTube. Woohoo! But there's a story behind that. And God, I really need to think of a better way to end these commentaries. Yeah, bye.